Okay, so here's a problem that was asked over email again. So it's out of section 2.6 and question 25. And the directions ask us to use transformations to graph this function right here, g of x equals -4 times x minus 6 squared, and then plus 4. Okay, so the first thing that you have to do in order to graph this using transformations is you have to identify what's the basic function that you're working with. And you'll notice that you have an x and then you have a square. So the basic function that you're working with is the x squared function. Okay, so if you think about your generic x squared function, it looks like this. It has a point at 0, 0, and it's got a point at 1, 1. It's got a point at 2, 4. It's got a point at -1, 1 and -2, 4. So looks like this. Okay. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to say how is this -4, this -6, and this +4 going to move it around the graph. Okay. All right. So the basic points, and I call these key points that we're working with on this particular graph, this x squared, this basic function. Like I said here, we have the point 0, 0. We have the point 1, 1. We have the point -1, 1. We have the point 2, 4. And then we have the point -2, 4. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to work with these points off of the graph, just adjusting it how each of these things are going to make it go. And then I'll graph the resulting function. Okay, so let me actually just rewrite this function. I didn't leave myself enough room there. Okay, so this right here, this -4 out front, what that's going to do is effectively it's going to take my graph and it's going to flip it down. In order to flip the graph down, what we're basically going to be doing is multiplying each of these y coordinates by -4. So this is, I'm going to abbreviate it y by -4. And that just means that I'm going to take each of these key points, multiply by y negative, multiply the y coordinates by -4. This -6 right here, what effectively that's doing is that's shifting the graph to the right 6 units. And so this is going to be adding 6 units to each of the x coordinates. Because if you move right on the graph, you're working with the x coordinate and we'd be adding 6. This +4 is going to be adding 4 to the y coordinates because that's going to be basically shifting the graph up 4 units. Okay. Now, when you do it this way that I'm showing you, you have to do any multiplications first. So we've got to multiply all of these key points by this -4 first before we do the addition and subtraction, otherwise it won't come out. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm taking each of these key points right here and I'm going to multiply their y coordinates by -4. So 0 times -4 is 0. The 1 times -4 is -4. The +1 again times -4 is -4. And then we have 2, -16, and -2, -16. Okay? All right, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 6 to the x and add 4 to the y, and I'm going to do that in the same step. Okay, so each of these coordinates, to the x coordinate I'm going to add 6, to the y coordinate I'm going to add 4. Okay, so it's going to look like 6, 4, and 7, excuse me, 6, 4, and then 7, add 4 here, we get 0, add 6 here, we get 5, add 4, we get 0, add 6, we get 8, add 4, we get -12, add 6, we get 4, and then add 4, and we get -12. Okay, now these points right here are the points that I'm going to graph. That's actually going to show this graph moved over 6, up 4, flipped down by the negative, and then scrunched because of the 4. Okay, so So if I just draw this out on a graph, okay, so I've got, this is my x-coordinate, this is my y-coordinate. Okay, so over 6, and then up 4 units is going to put me right there. And over 7, and I'm at 0. And then at 5, I'm at 0. And then I've got the point 8, negative 12, so over 8 and down negative 12 is this last point right here. It's made it really skinny. And then 4, negative 12 is down here. Okay. So it's a very skinny parabola. The reason for that is because of the 4. You can't really see that. So this right here is negative 12. I did these by units of 1, so this is 6. Okay. So effectively what's happened here is the negative is what's caused it to flip down. The 4, multiplying by the 4 has actually caused it to be scrunched, to make it skinnier. And then the plus 6 is moving it over 6, the plus 4 is moving it up 4. Okay.